This video is going to be me rambling about repaint videos and future plans around it. It's not going to be that important, but why not just make it anyway? And I also decided to do a speed paint for this, so I'm drawing my D&D character. She's a halfling called Robbie Honeypot, and she's a rogue, or an arcane trickster to be exact. And she lost an eye not long ago. And now that school is over and the entire group is split, we're playing online. So because of this, I decided to make an icon of my character for that. And I also tell you the story about how Robbie lost her eye after all the update stuff. So if you just want to hear about that, you can skip to this time. I just moved back home after living at the school where I was studying. And things are definitely changing for me and for my social medias. I'm not going to go into details about how it changed my personal life and how the plans are going on there. But honestly, I'm still unsure about doing repaint videos. It's still something I want to do, but I do have a few problems I need to sort out first. At school, I had a huge room to work in, and I could also record there without being interrupted too much, even though it was the common room. But back home, things are a bit tight for space in comparison. I don't really know where to set up a camera, and the camera I've been using this time isn't even mine. So that's definitely a setback. I had to borrow the camera from my dad, since mine can't film, but there was a water leak that destroyed his other camera, so he really needs his back. Luckily, my old camera wasn't in that bag, so at least it's safe. But it doesn't have an option for filming, and I don't have the space required on my phone. So there will probably not be a new repaint video before I can buy a new camera, I'm guessing. But I'm gonna keep updating Instagram with dull photos, and I'm also gonna try to get my photography Instagram going again. But I'll definitely miss the photo studio at school. Also, I finally got my BJD now. She's a Doll Lives Yoko, and I'm gonna work a bit on her in the near future. I wasn't really planning on filming the progress anyway, since it's my first time doing a face-up on a BJD. But it did go really well, and the photos of her face-up are on my Instagram. I'm also gonna make the clothes myself. I've already found some patterns, and now I just need to cut out some fabric and stitch it all together until I got an outfit for her. I don't have much planned for doll repaint yet. The first repaint I'll be doing when I figure out the filming situation is probably gonna be a nature-themed doll. That was a part of the poll on Instagram, where the angel theme won. And after finishing that doll, I really want to make the nature one as well. But I'm guessing that's all the stuff I want to talk about. At least I hope so. Okay, so if not, I'll write the rest in the description, but I'm pretty sure that's everything. So, how about I tell you how Robbie lost her right eye? It might be a bit gory, so if you don't like hearing about that stuff, I'm really sorry, but I'll try to keep the gore to a minimum as best as I can. So, background info. Robbie Honeypot is a part of a group that includes a little dragon stuck in a human form, or was, she's evil now, stuff happened, a half-orc cleric, he's dead, it's not going well for us, he blew himself up, a human barbarian who's basically a Viking, who's actually still alive. And we also have a few NPCs with us at this time. We have 3 grunts, basically humanoid frogs. Oh god, I can't talk. One of those are alive now. Yeah, only one of them. A halfling chef who is also dead now? I'm pretty sure he's dead. A creepy dude we met in a cave where all this happened, who has a hand fetish. He just has reanimated hands following his commands. And he almost chopped off Robbie's hands. So he's dead because of that. His death was actually pretty brutal. Okay, but this group was our guide. And because we were on the way to a dwarven city, And we ended up having to go through a maze of caves to get there. The first thing we saw in there was a dead manticore. Those things are pretty tough, but it was dead. So we just knew that this was gonna be fun. So skip forward to us meeting the Handcrape and him agreeing to show us the way to a lava river that was gonna be the exit, or the way out. The caves were pitch black, so we had the ones with dark vision go in front. And I was in the back with Ulf, our barbarian that had a torch. And it was pretty tight, so we can only walk one after another in a line. But then we stopped right when the cave split in half, or two paths. Not because we didn't know where to go, but because there was something there, in the direction the exit was. And it ended up stopping right in front of us. My memory is a bit hazy how everything happened, since it's been a while, and it got pretty intense with 2 players almost dying. But I'll keep it short anyway, to focus on the eyes losing. Or at least I try to keep it short. So in this maze of caves, the path split in half. We were going to go to the left, but our guide stopped us. He started whispering to our cleric in front, and I was just in the back, not knowing what's going on. But there is something in the way we're gonna go, and it's getting closer. So I don't remember what happened next and how us 2 in the back managed to get to the front. Us 2 being my tiny halfling and a 2-meter tall Viking barbarian. But Ulf the Viking used some minor illusion to try to lure whatever this thing was to the path to the right, so that we can pass. But this thing managed to get close to Ulf, and he could feel it breathing right into his ear. And the ear isn't something that is in front of your face, but he could still feel breathing on his ear, and it wasn't from anyone in the party. But the thing that we didn't know what was at this time was in front of us. And that's when I knew that, oh shit, I think I know what this is. And it's bad. And other players figured out that, hey, this is probably that thing that is super bad, that could kill us all, no problem. And it turned out that it was this thing. But our characters didn't know yet. Robbie was right behind Ulf, and we agreed to making a distraction somehow. And we aren't really good at making distractions, I should say. Or plans. Our plan was stupid and involved a few bad rolls. Along with a few good ones, of course, but Ulf isn't really known to roll that well, no matter what dice he uses. Our entire group are sure his character is just cursed with bad rolls. We decided that Bonfire is a great spell to use in a tight space. And for those of you who don't know, Bonfire is a cantrip that can be used over and over again. That creates a 5x5 foot bonfire, as the spell says, that lasts for up to 1 minute. And any creature in this place must succeed on a dexterity saving throw to not take damage. So you gotta roll the dice and hope for a high enough number. So I cast Bonfire behind the creature, lighting it up. And now we all know exactly what it is. It's a beholderkin known as a death kiss. Remember that dead manticore I talked about? Yeah, this thing killed it. And it's right in front of us. This thing uses its 10 tentacles to latch onto poor creatures and adventurers to suck out all of their blood. So Ulf tries to get his attention on him to try and lure it away from the rest of the party. Since the caves are so small, we will be at a huge disadvantage if a battle broke out there. So he has to get through the bonfire first. Well, first he has to get through the death kiss without getting attacked. But he starts off with insulting that kiss and manages to get its attention. Then, as he's trying to roll through the bonfire, he didn't roll his dice high enough. So instead of rolling through it, he just rolls and stops in the bonfire before getting off and running. So the Death Kiss did go after him, but not before deciding to grab a small Capri Sun bag on the way. This Capri Sun bag being Robbie flavored. But the thing is, Robbie has a lot of hair, and she is covered head to toe in studded leather armor. The Death Kiss tried to go for her neck first, but ended up with a mouthful of a curly mess. It doesn't really show well in this drawing, but since the hood is covering most of it, but her head is pretty long and extremely full. I mean, take off the hood, and it's hair everywhere. But the Death Kiss, it isn't something that gives up that easily. It still wants to have a taste of that sweet, sweet juice bag. So instead, it reaches for the only uncovered place it could find, her face, and plants a tentacle right over her eye before going after Ulf. Ulf, thinking it has done such a well job and saved the others, turns around and sees the Death Kiss like he planned, but carrying a kind of pissed off and kicking halfling. So the rest of the party runs after as well, and shortly, Ulf and the Death Kiss reaches an opening in the cave. It's still a bit tight, but here we will have at least a shot at fighting this thing. So the others arrive just after us, and we all roll for initiative. I don't remember at all which order we went, but it was all a bloody mess. Literally. So a lot happened in a short amount of time, and Robbie had lost a lot of health. She was still being carried around by this Death Kiss, and the only thing I could think of doing was to use bonfire again. So keeping this in mind, that my character would get prone, and I would need to take death saving throws if this thing didn't let go, I said I wanted to get loose. So I could take damage from this if I didn't succeed on a dexterity saving throw if I used bonfire. So I decided to use bonfire on myself instead of the ground under this monster, because if I just did underneath it, it could dodge away from it. But if it didn't dodge, I would still take the damage or have to roll. So I decided, hey, I'm just gonna set fire to myself instead. So Robbie was now on fire, and it still wouldn't let her go. And at least it didn't take damage from the fire, but I don't remember if the Death Kiss did. Actually, a lot of this part of haste to me, and I did ask the other D&D players on my group if they could help me. But the thing finally let go of Robbie and threw her into the cave wall, making her take some damage. And she was looking really bad right now, in more than one way. She was still on fire, and her left side of her face was sticky with blood, and she couldn't see anything from her right eye. She was still conscious, and the Death Kiss, now sick of the others, had changed its focus to one of the grunts that had attacked it. The grunts aren't strong at all, and they would have died in one hit by this beholderkin. Although our dungeon master had decided to throw something that strong at us, he gave me the permission to make a reaction when it was the Death Kiss's turn in order to save Julie the grung. So Robbie, being the extremely rude and loud character she is, yelled at this Death Kiss and told it to stay away from Julie, which of course ended up in Robbie getting the hit instead. And I now had to start making death saving throws. And to succeed, I will need to have 3 successful rolls, 1 roll on each of my turns. We do have a cleric, but the real problem started when Rukia also went down. She is super important to the plot, as our goal is to retrieve her egg. And our cleric can only save one of us. The other has to make the rolls. My first roll didn't go well, and I now had 1 fail. And if that wasn't bad enough, the Death Kiss had attacked me again while I was down. So I now had 2 fails total, which is fun. Rukia, our actual dragon unwillingly turned human, was also down now at this point. And other characters can also help those who are down and make the rolls for them. Something that is super useful if this character has a high medicine proficiency. So Julie tried to help, but she rolled a natural 1. A natural 1 means you will not only fail, but you will get 2 fails instead. And if you get 3 fails, your character is dead. Robbie managed to make the roll now, and both her and Rukia had now 2 fails and 1 success. But our cleric could still only just save one of us, which would have to be Rukia since she is super important to the plot. I mean, our goal is to find her egg and find a way to turn it back into a dragon. So there wasn't really a choice there. And if Rukia was saved, Robbie would also have the chance of surviving, because Rukia is a dragon blood sorcerer. She can feed her blood to a dying creature, and it can save their lives. But they will also become a dragon blood sorcerer themselves. So in exchange for my character surviving, I would have to multiclass. But I just wanted my character to live, so I was fine with that. But then Matthias, another of the grunts, decided to help Rukia, and he managed to roll a natural 20. So just like the natural 1, it's a special throw. It's an automatic success and gives 2 saves instead of just 1. So Rukia was now safe and had regained 1 hit point. And after a long battle, the Death Kiss feared for his life and ran away. We had gotten so close to defeating it, and we did try to chase after it, but it did get away. So the battle was now over, and with Rukia surviving, there was no longer a choice of who to save. So Gore, our cleric, walked over to Robbie to look at the damage, but the damage was too severe for him to be able to fix. So he decided to send me to his gods, Gork and Mork. It's hard to describe what kind of character Gore is, but it's easier to describe the 2 orc gods. Gore describes them as one being brutally cunning and the other being cunningly brutal. And Gore is important to these gods, as they had sent him on a quest. So they agreed to help Robbie that Gore had sent them. She was given a choice. Either she would accept their gifts, or she would die. The gifts were 2 things: an eye patch of metal that would randomly give off electric shocks, not to Robbie, but to others at random times. And just at random times in general, which is great for a rogue sneaking around. And the other was a helmet that was impossible to take off. And I can't remember all of it, but I think it would make Gork and Mork able to talk directly into your head. Or it would make you hear every single orc's thought. It was something like that. And luckily, I managed to talk myself out of that last gift. But after receiving the eye patch, which I did accept, Robbie got sent back to her body again. And the first thing she saw was a creepy hand dude ready to chop off her hands. Robbie, who now had had enough with everything, I did not need some creep hang over her, hit him so hard that she broke his neck. Honestly, his death was quite brutal, since Robbie didn't really stop there, so yeah, we'll just skip that. But in her hand, Robbie now had the eye patch. It was huge and chunky, made of iron, or some sort of steel. Clearly orc aesthetics, and it didn't really have any straps. Turning the eye patch, you could see that in the back, the part that is supposed to lie against your face had a bunch of nails poking out. Because of course it has. Don't you just love orcs and their wonderful designs? Knowing that this was going to be a hell, she gave her eye patch to Gore and asked if he could make some anesthetics with his herbalism kits, and give it to her before jabbing the eye patch in place over where the eye once was. because the eye wasn't just badly damaged, it was just gone. But at least you got a pretty sweet eye patch now. When we started this campaign, we didn't really know that it was going to be this dark. But once it started, we knew that we were going to be in for a ride. There was a few messed up things that happened before this as well, that actually traumatized my character, and actually left me crying. And so much messed up stuff happened after this as well. And it's been even darker in some other campaign that our DM has run. But with that said, I love how the campaign is going, and I really love how our DM is running it. He had asked me if I was okay with my character having lasting damages like this, and I said I was fine with it. And I wouldn't have played it like this if I wasn't. We were all having so much fun with this campaign, and even though we sometimes end up crying, and with I mean me, I cried a lot. I cried the last session as well. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I don't think I'll make this kind of videos much in the future, but since I was already making a video talking about how some updates were going on and the stuff with YouTube, I really want to tell the story since I used speed paint for Robbie in the background. So it's 2-for-1 video, I guess. But I will definitely try to keep this channel dull repaints only, and maybe occasionally a few repaints, speed paints, but mostly dull videos.